Mike Pence is under attack from the left for standing by his decision to sign the state's Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which critics claim allows discrimination against gay people, but the governor is fighting back against these attacks.
Is tolerance a two-way street or not? I mean, you know, there's a lot of talk about tolerance in this country today having to do with people on the left. But here Indiana steps forward to protect the constitutional rights and privileges of freedom of religion for people of faith and families of faith in our state. And this avalanche of intolerance that's been poured on our state is just outrageous, because we simply stepped forward for the purpose of recognizing the religious liberty rights of all the people of Indiana, of every faith. We suffered under this avalanche for the last several days of condemnation, and it's completely baseless. It's not based on any fact whatsoever.
Here now with reaction, author, columnist Ann Coulter is with us. All right, it's interesting because we've had a federal law for 20-some-odd years. There's, 30 states have similar laws, not exactly written this way, but isn't this about actions the government would take that would infringe on religious liberties? In other words, a First Amendment issue.
This goes back more than just to the federal religious anti-discrimination law. It goes back hundreds of years in our history. I mean, that you have to explain to Americans, a country that was founded on religious freedom, the idea that individual conscience often will trump civil authority. This has been this goes back to James Madison and George Washington. We've been dealing with it with priests not having to turn over their confessions in criminal courts, with Jews being able to wear yarmulkes, with Muslims having special dietary requirements.
Conscientious objectors and Quakers not.
George Washington and the Quakers. And when the law was introduced by, among others, Chuck Schumer, supported by the ACLU and the American Jewish Congress.
Bill Clinton, Barack Obama as a state senator.
It went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said the law is fine, but it was a federalism issue. You can't have this federal law apply to state actions, but invited the states to pass their own laws. So the states passed their own laws, of which, as you say, there are about 20 of them on the books. And by the way, at the time when the Supreme Court said that the federal law would not automatically apply to state laws and local ordinances, it was people like Chuck Schumer demanding that action be taken. Well, this is what the states have done. It really has just this idea that because liberals can posit a case of two gay guys getting married and a Christian florist not wanting to provide the flowers, that we're all supposed to give way and call it a discrimination law. It's never been applied in such a case. It's a shield.
Right.
We know what the cases are for, and it's as if we've changed who the American voters are, that people don't understand this idea that Americans have religious freedom. Religious freedom is different from a lot of things. There are bad things, too. You can't lobby the government to build a church. You can lobby the government to build a sports stadium. So there are limitations, but there are also protections.
Let me play Mike Pence on with George Stephanopoulos. It's a two-part question when we get back. Watch this.
Bill Clinton signed the Religious Freedom Restoration Act in 1993.
I remember that.
Then state senator, I bet you do, then state senator Barack Obama voted for it when he was in the state senate of Illinois.
All right, two issues here. Number one, Obama supported it, Clinton supported it. That's the hypocrisy side. Did George Stephanopoulos, you know, Mr. War Room himself, did he ever go after Hillary? Did he ever go after Bill?
Right.
So there's two questions here. Why did they never go after Democrats who supported the exact same thing?
Right.
And why would any Republican ever be a part of a debate with a guy that's so entrenched in the Clinton camp?
No, and perhaps the network. I agree with you, as we talked about on radio today. I mean, this is a real failing of the Republican National Committee, that they allow Republican presidential candidates to have debates with people who are so directly opposed to them. That incident with Candy Crowley of CNN coming out and announcing that Mitt Romney was wrong in the middle of a debate, which she corrected on air 2 hours after the debate. To this day, I don't know what a presidential candidate is supposed to do in that circumstance. He can't go after the girl moderator, or the feminists will get upset.
So why would George Stephanopoulos, does anybody doubt that he's in the tank for Hillary?
No, but it's more than that. Why would Republicans agree to this?
I don't think they should.
I mean, until all presidential debates are moderated exclusively by, for example, you
Right.
and me. I do not know why our Republican candidates
By the way,
should
liberals
ever
would laugh at that. It would be a great debate because
Right,
you actually
but
be able to.
laughs at George Stephanopoulos.
Right.
I never worked for a Republican president. He did. He worked for a Democrat president.
He was in the war room for the Clintons. He was a part of. He was a Clinton hack.
After what Candy Crowley did, I mean, this is a really serious issue.
It is a serious
nothing else
issue.
to alert the American public to what's going on with these
I have one
debates.
more question. The people that are most outspoken against Sharia law, against the mistreatment of women, the mistreatment of gays and lesbians under Sharia law, are conservatives. We watch women's groups get all upset about Sandra Fluck or Mitt Romney, resumes for women in binders, upset about this on gay rights. Gays are being slaughtered, and people like us are out there saying, look what's happening, Sharia law, people are being killed and women are being mistreated. Why don't they join us on the left?
Right.
On a really important issue where lives are at stake, where slavery is happening.
Right, and I'd extend that to not only being concerned about slavery and animal sacrifice in those countries, but bringing the people from those cultures to immigrate here and start voting for the Democrats, which is what is happening. I mean, this is why it is. It's been 20 years since Clinton was signing this law. Now the country is upset about it. How would this have played in 1990, in 1980, when traditional Americans who understood John Locke and George Washington and the idea of religious freedom and individual conscience? Now we've imported voters who don't believe in that.
I have a last question for you, a quick one. We're running out of time. Do you think Hillary broke the law with the server issue?
I don't know. I will defer to others on that. I do think, as I have said before, it raises an IQ question with Hillary Clinton that she would do this again. She is not some, hick from Arkansas that she was always portraying herself as. She has now been the First Lady of Arkansas, the First Lady of the country. We've had all these document retention problems. How on earth can she go through this and then delete all these emails without thinking, I wonder if anyone will notice this? I mean, it really shows it's not just arrogance. It's not just cronyism. This is just pure, blind stupidity.
All right, Ann Coulter, good to see you. Thank